네, 안녕하십니까. 영어 시도ing 연습 141일차 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 먼저 오늘 첫 번째로 할 영상은 오바마 영상 한번 해보겠습니다. 자막은 가리도록 하고요. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you got going on at home, none of that is an excuse. There is no excuse for not trying. I've given a lot of speeches about education. I talked about responsibility a lot. I talked about teachers' responsibility for inspiring students, pushing you a lot. I talked about your parents' responsibility for making sure you for making sure you stay on track and you get your homework done. And don't spend every waking hour. Don't spend every waking hour in front of the TV or with the Xbox. I talked a lot about your government's responsibility for setting high standards, for supporting teachers and principals, and turning a lot of schools that are working, where students are getting the opportunities they deserve. But at the end of the day, you can have the most dedicated teachers, most supportive parents, best schools in the world, and none of it will make a difference. Never will matter unless all of you fulfill your responsibility, unless you show up to those schools, unless you pay attention to unless you pay attention unless you pay attention to those teachers, unless you listen to your parents, grandparents, and others, or put in the hard and put in the hard work it takes to succeed. To succeed. That's what I wanna. That's what. That's what I wanna. That's what I wanna focus on today. That's what I wanna focus on today. The responsibility each of you has for your education. I wanna start. I wanna start with the responsibility you have for yourself. Every single one of you has something that you are good at. Every single one of you has something to offer. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have responsibility of yourself. Every single one of you has something to offer. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have a responsibility to yourself to discover what that is. You have responsibility to yourself to discover what it is. That's the opportunity an education can provide. That's the opportunity an education provide. That's the opportunity an education can provide. Self to discover what that is. That's the opportunity an education can provide. That's the opportunity an education can provide. Maybe you could be a great writer. Maybe you could be a great writer. Maybe you could be a great writer. Maybe even good enough to write a book or articles in newspaper, but you might not know it. Maybe you could be an innovator or an inventor. Maybe you could be maybe even good enough to come up with the next iPhone or next iPhone or the new medicine or vaccine. But good enough to come up with the next iPhone or the new medicine or vaccine. But you might not know it until you do the project for your science course. Maybe you could be a mayor, a senator, or a Supreme Court justice. But you might not know that until you join student government, but you might not know that until you join student government or debating. No matter what you do, no matter what you, no matter no matter no matter what you want to do with your life. No matter what you want to do with your life, I guarantee that you'll need an education to do it. You want to be a doctor, or a teacher, or a police officer? No. I want to be a nurse or architect, a lawyer, member of our military. You're gonna need a good education for every one of those careers. You cannot drop out of school and just drop into a good job. You got to train for it, work for it, and learn for it. This isn't ju- this isn't just important for your own life, your own future. When you make up your when you make up your education, when you make up your education, when you make up your education, we decide nothing less than the future of this country. When you make up your education, we decide nothing less than the future of this country. Uh, when you make up your education, we decide nothing less than the future of this country. The future of America depends on you. When you're learning on what you're learning in school today will determine whether we as a nation. When you're learning in school today, when you're learning in school today will determine whether we as a nation meet our greatest challenges, great greatest challenges in challenges in the future. You'll need the knowledge and problem solving skills you learn in science and math to cure diseases like cancer and AIDS, to develop new energy technologies and protect our environment. You'll need the insight and critical thinking skills you gain history and social studies. Uh, Studies to fight poverty and homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You'll need creativity and ingenuity. You develop in your you develop in you develop in all your classes to build new companies that will create new jobs and boost our economy. We need every single one of you to develop your talents and skills, to develop your to develop your to develop your talents and your skills and your intellect, so you can help us art folks solve our most our most difficult our most difficult problem. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're not just quitting on yourself. You're quitting on your country. I know it's always I know I know it's always easy to do. I was. I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know you're not just quitting on your school. You're not just quitting on your school. You're not just quitting on your school. You're quitting on your country. You're quitting on your country. You are not just quitting on your school. You're quitting on your country. You are not just quitting on your school. You're quitting on your country. I know. I know it's not. I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know it's not always easy. I know. I know it's not. I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know. I know. A lot of you have challenges. I know. Have. I know you. I know. I know it's always easy. I know it's not always easy. It's not always easy to do well in school. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. In your lives right now. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. They can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. They can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. They can make it hard to focus on you. They can they can make it they can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. They can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. They can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. I get it. I know what it's like. My father left my family when I was 2 years old. I was raised by a single mom, who had to work and who struggled at times to pay the bills, and wasn't always to, and wasn't always, and wasn't always to, and wasn't always able to, who had to work, who struggled at times to pay the bills, wasn't always able to give us the, the things that other kids had, wasn't always to give us, wasn't always to give us, wasn't always able to, wasn't always able to give us, struggles at times, struggles at times to bear the bills, wasn't always to be able to give us, wasn't always able to give us, who had to work, who struggled, who struggled at times to pay the bills, who struggles at times to pay the bills, who wasn't always to give us, who wasn't always able to give us, who wasn't always able to give us the things that other kids had. There were times when I missed having a father in my life. There were times when I was there were times when I was lonely. There were times when I missed having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit it. I know it's so I was always so I was so I wasn't always as focused as I should have been in school. There was times there were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. There were times when I missed having a father in my life. And I feel like I didn't fit in. And there were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. There were times I was lonely and I felt like that I didn't fit in. And I felt like I didn't fit in. And I felt like I didn't fit in. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. So I was always as focused as I should have been in school. I felt like I didn't fit in. So always as focused as I should have been in school. I should have been focused as I should have been in school. So I was always as so I was always as focused as should have been in school. So I was always as focused as so I was always as focused as I should have been in school. I did some things that I'm not proud of. I did some things that I'm not proud of. I did some things that I'm not proud of. Focused as I should have been in school. I did some things I'm not proud of. I got in more trouble than I should. In my life, could have easily taken and time for the worse. But I was lucky. I got a lot of second chances, and I had the opportunity, and I did, and I had the opportunity to go to college, and law school, follow my dream. My wife, First Lady Michelle Obama, she has the smallest choice. Neither her parents had gone to college. and they didn't have enough money. But they worked hard. She worked hard, so she could go to the best schools in this country. Some of you might not have this. Some of you might not have disadvantages. She could go to the best schools in this country. Some of you might not have. Some of you might not have those advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life who give you the support that you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost their jobs, so there's not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe, or have friends who are pressuring you to do things you know aren't right. But at the end of the day, the circumstances over your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you got going on at home, none of that is an excuse for neglecting your homework and having a bad attitude in school. That's no excuse. Talking back to your teacher, and cutting class, and dropping out of school. There is no excuse for not trying. You are where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you are ended. 잠깐 광고 나오네요. No one has written your destiny for you. No one's written your destiny for you. Because here in America, you write your own destiny. You make your own future. That's why young people like you are doing every day all across America. That's why young people like you are doing every day. That's what young people. That's what young people like you are doing every day. That's what young people like you are doing every day all across America. Young people like Jasmine Perez from Loma, Texas. Jasmine didn't speak English when she first started school. Neither of her parents had gone to college, but she worked hard, earned good grades, and got a scholarship to a Brown University. Is now in graduate school, studying public health, on her way to becoming doctor. Jasmine Perez. On her way becoming doctor. Jasmine Perez. I'm thinking about Andoni Schultz, Los Altos, California, who's fought brain cancer, since he was three. She, he's had to endure all sorts of treatments and surgeries, one of which affected his memory, so it took him much longer. Hundreds extra, hundreds of extra, hundreds hours, hundreds. So it took him much longer. Hundreds of extra hours to do his schoolwork. But he never fell behind. Never fell behind. Never fell behind. But he never fell behind. He's headed to college this fall. He's headed to college this fall. Then there was Chantel Steve from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Even when bouncing from foster home to foster home, in the toughest neighborhoods in the city, she managed to get a job at a local health care center. Start the program to keep young people. Start the program to keep. Start the program. Start the program to keep young people out of gangs. Start a program to keep young people out of gangs. Start the program. Start the program. Start the program. Start the program to keep young people out of gangs. She's on track to she's on track to graduate high school. And she's on track to graduate. She's on track to graduate high school with honors and go on to college. She's on track to graduate high school with honors and go on to college. Jasmine, Donnie, Chantel are any different from any of you. They face these challenges. They face challenges are any different. They face these challenges any are any different from any of you. They face challenges in they face challenges in their lives. They face challenges in their lives like you do. They face challenges in their lives just like you do. The challenges in the in their in their lives just like you do. In their challenges in their lives is just like you do. In their lives just like you do. They face challenges in their lives just like you do. Some cases they've got it a lot worse off. They got it a lot worse off than many of you. But they refuse to give up. They chose to take a responsibility for their lives, but they refuse to give up. Responsibility for their lives. They chose to take a responsibility. They they chose to take care. They chose. They refuse to give up. They chose to take a responsibility. They chose to take a responsibility for their lives, for their education, and set goals from themselves, and set goals for themselves, and set goals for themselves. And I expect all of you to do the same. All of you to do the same. And I expect all of you to do the same. That's why I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education. That's why I'm calling on you. That's why I'm call. That's why. That's why I'm today. That's why today. That's why. That's why today I'm calling. That's what, and I expect all of you to do the same. That's why today I'm calling on each of you. Each of you do the same. Each of you do the set your own goals in your education. Own goals for your education. That's why today. That's why today I'm calling you. 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 That's why today I'm calling you on each of you do set. 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 Each of you do set your. Each of you do set your own goals for your education. And do everything you can to meet them. And do everything you can to meet them. But whatever you resolve to do, I want you to commit to. I want you to really work it. I want you to. I want you to really work it. I know sometimes you get the sense from TV that you can be rich. You can be rich and successful without hard work. And your ticket to success, without any hard work. Your ticket to success is your ticket to success is through rapping or basketball,
being
being a reality TV star.
chances are you're not going to be any of those things.
Chances are you're not gonna be you're not gonna be any of those things. Any of those things. You are not gonna be any of those things. You are not gonna be any of those things.
The truth is,
The truth is,
being
being
successful
successful is
you
hard.
love every subject that you study. Being successful is hard.
Being successful is hard. The truth, the being successful is hard.
You won't love every subject
You will love every subject
that you study.
that you
You
study.
won't click with every teacher.
You won't click. You won't click.
You won't love every subject that you study. You won't click with every teacher
With every teacher, you won't click. With every teacher
that you had.
that you
Not
have.
every homework assignment
Not every homework assignment
will seem completely relevant
will seem completely relevant
to your life
to your life
right at this minute.
right at this minute.
And you won't necessarily succeed
And you won't necessarily succeed
in everything
and you won't necessarily succeed in everything
the first time you try.
the first time you try.
That's okay.
That's
Some of the
okay.
most successful people in the
Some of the most people in the world
world are the ones who had the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world
some of the most successful people in the world some of the most successful people in the world
are the ones who've had the most
are the ones who had are the ones are the ones who had
failures. JK, okay. Some of the most successful people in the world
some of the most successful people in the world
are the ones who've had
are the ones who had
the most failures.
the most failures.
J.K. Rowling
J.K. Rowling,
wrote Harry Potter.
who wrote Harry Potter.
Her first Harry Potter book was
Her first Harry Potter book was rejected
rejected 12
12
times
times
before it was finally published. Her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published.
before it was finally published. Before it was finally published.
First Harry Potter
Before
book
it was finally
rejected
published.
12 times
12 times
before it was finally published.
before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was finally published. Before it was before it was finally published.
Michael Jordan was
But Michael Jordan was
cut from his
cut from high school basketball
He
team.
lost hundreds of games and misses
He lost hundreds of games and lost
thousands
thousands of
of
shots
shots
in his career. But he once said,
failed over and over and
I had failed in over and over and
over
over,
again in my life.
over and again in my life.
And that's why I succeed.
That's why I succeed.
These people succeeded because they understood
These people succeeded because because
over again in my life. And that's why I succeed.
that's why I succeed.
These people succeeded
These people succeeded
because they understood
because they understood that I because they understood.
in my life. And that's why I succeed.
That's why I succeed.
These people succeeded because
These people succeeded because they understood
that you
that
can't let your failures define you.
that
People succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you.
you can't let your failures define you. That you,
People succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you.
that because they understood that you can't let your failures define you.
You have to let your failures teach you.
You can't let your failures teach you.
You have to let them show you,
Uh, you can't let them.
define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you,
You can let them show you. You have to let them show you.
define you. You have to let your failures teach you.
You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let your failures teach you.
You have to let them show you
You have to let them show you
what to do differently the next time.
what to do differently next time.
So if you get into trouble,
So, so if you get into trouble, so if you get into trouble,
that doesn't mean you're a troublemaker.
that doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. That doesn't mean you are a troublemaker.
It means you need to try hard.
it means you need to try. It means you need to try harder
to act right.
to act right.
If you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean you're
If you get a bad grade, if you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean
stupid.
you are stupid.
Means you
That
need
just means it just means
to spend more time studying.
it just means you need to spend more time studying.
No one's born being good at all things.
No one's being born. No one's was being. No one's was.
You need to spend more time studying.
You need to spend. You need to spend more time studying.
No one's born being good
No one's born being good. No one's born being good
at all things.
at all things.
You become good at things through hard work.
You become good at things through hard work.
You're not a varsity athlete the first time you play a new sport. You don't at things through hard work. You're not a varsity athlete.
You're not a,
You become good at things through hard work. You're not a varsity athlete
you're not a varsity athlete.
the first time you play a new sport.
The first time you play a new sport,
You don't hit every note the first time
you don't hit them every note. You first time
you sing a song.
sing a song.
You've got to practice.
You got to
The
practice.
same principle applies
The same principle applies
to your school.
to your
You
school.
might have to do a math problem a few
You might have to do a math problems
times before you get
a few times
it right.
before you
might
get it
have
right.
to read something a few times.
You might not to have you might not you might have to have
You might have to do a math problem a few
you might have to do a math problem.
times before you get
You might not have to do you might have to do a math problem a few times.
it right. You might have to read something a few
You might have to read something a few times
times before you understand it.
before you understand it.
You definitely have to do a few drafts
You definitely have to do a few drafts
of a paper
of a paper
before it's good enough to hand it.
before it's good enough to hand in. Before it's good enough to hand in.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid of this question. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Don't be afraid to ask help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for help.
It's good enough to hand in. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid of ask questions. Don't be afraid of ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask for help when you
Don't be afraid ask for help.
need it. I do that
Ask for help when you need it.
every day. Asking
I do that every day. 네, 오늘 여기까지 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.